So this is the Buck 112, the smaller brother, I guess, of the Buck 110. The Buck 110 is one of those knives that's kind of synonymous with like American, hardworking, like American men who carry knives from like, the 70s and 80s and 90s. These days, I feel like most people have decided to carry something a little less ridiculous because the Buck 110 is very large, very heavy knife, which is why I have this, which is the Buck 112, like I said, and it is considerably smaller than the 110. I should have probably have grabbed my 110, but I didn't, so I don't have a source of reference because I'm prepared for stuff like this, obviously. I'm not doing this after I just got off work. Yeah. But the 112 is quite a bit smaller than the 110. It's got more of like what I would consider to be a reasonable size blade. There was a point in time where I really felt like I needed to have a 3.5 inch blade on my pocket knife. But since I've started carrying traditional pocket knives pretty much all the time, I don't feel like that anymore, obviously. This knife is considerably smaller and considerably lighter than the 110. It is still pretty heavy because it is still like a block of brass, brass and wood and steel, like, your grandpa and your father. In the case of some of you, your father would have been proud of. Simple, lock back design here, locks open. Gotta depress the lock here on the back to close the knife. Yeah, not really one-handed opening, although you can get a thumb stud for it that will screw onto the blade and will allow you to open it one-handed. I did put one on my 110. I think I'm just going to leave this alone. Apparently the 112 has been out for 50 years now, so I guess since 1972 the Buck 112 has been around. The Buck 110's been around a little longer. I'm thinking it was like the mid 60s that the Buck 110 came out, but I don't know an exact year. Maybe I should, but I don't. When you get it, the brass does come highly polished. It is a little bit tarnished on this knife because it has been sitting in the leather sheath, leather belt sheath, because I did carry it in the leather belt sheath a little bit, a couple times on days off. But I think generally the idea for this is going to be when I carry this, I'm just going to put it in my pocket like I would any other knife. But really, really cool to have a 112. I've wanted a 112 for a little while. I just couldn't really justify buying one. I went ahead and did so because I had some DLT points. So I went ahead and ordered this from DLT. And when it showed up, I was pretty happy with it. Buck's pretty good at putting a knife together. So there's no real issues or anything. The wood looks pretty cool and everything. It's like a really dark, I think it actually is ebony, but it looks very good. Like I said, when I got it, the brass was higher polished. It's not anymore because the sheath it comes with tarnishes the brass. The knife is made in America. The sheath is made in Mexico. If that's something that matters to you, I think you can get an American-made sheath for your Buck 110 and 112s. It just costs a little more. But anyway, really cool 112, especially with the tang stamp with the anvil with the 50 on it there. That's really cool, I think. And I'm happy to have a knife like this added to my ridiculous knife collection I have going. One thing that I didn't mention that I probably should, this is in 420HC, just like the 110s are, and Buck knives, pretty much all the American-made Buck knives anyway, have that Boss heat treat, which makes their like 120HC or is that what I said? No, 420HC. Sorry, I really did just get off work. I'm a little tired. Their 420 HC is better than a lot of like mid-tier blade steels would be what I would say. It's a really good steel. Buck 120, or I keep saying 120. Buck 420 HC is definitely a step up from regular 420 HC or 420 steels. So it's definitely an upgrade over something like that. Certainly better than any 8CRs or anything. And you can still get these Buck 110s and 112s for, I don't know, $60, $65, something like that. So it's pretty good value for an American-made knife, and a knife that'll last probably your entire lifetime, unless you do something goofy with it, like try to drive screws or something with that really delicate clip point tip there. But anyway, this has been the Buck 112, and I figured I would do a video on it because I'm sure there's not enough videos on these Buck knives already on the internet. That was sarcasm. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.